Hello everyone, I'm Sophie and I'm currently at Kecara Forest Retreat, Bentong, Malaysia. Today I'll continue sharing from this book, Tales My Lama Told Me, by Pastor David Lai. The stories within were related to him by our Guru, His Eminence, the 25th Sam Tuku Rinpoche. And today I'll still be on, sorry it slipped my hands, it'll be still on chapter 6. Chapter 9, Tsongkhapa. And it's page 80. And as you can see, today is still the landscape from the top of Manjusri Hill. Okay, before this, I'll go to a picture to share with you. Sorry. Yes, this one. This is a picture of Lord Buddha Manjusri. Right, so page 80. Not too long ago, His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave teachings at a monastery which we all attended. He gave a White Heruka long life initiations then. White Heruka Chakrasamvara is a practice that originated from a vision that Tsongkhapa had, in which Manjusri passed to him the initiation for preserving people's lives. Tsongkhapa then practiced the deity intensely until he received signs. Naturally, Tsongkhapa attained the powers of the practice and received the necessary signs to indicate that he had gained realizations from the practice. Then he composed the sadhana and wrote it down. It has since been passed down from generation to generation between gurus and disciples up to the present day. When such attained beings compose texts and practices, it is not the same as when we compose texts. They write and compose out of their realization and not out of scholarliness or intellectual understanding like we do. Therefore, when attained beings like Tsongkhapa compose or write anything down, it is always easier for us to understand. It is easier because it has been taught or received directly from Manjusri. Since Manjusri is the synthesis of all wisdom energy, anything that comes from him will definitely influence our intelligence, learning, and understanding. It can be said, therefore, that with anything written, passed down, or taught within the lineage of Tsongkhapa, the understanding of Dharma will come quicker and be more efficacious on the basis that he gained his realizations through his link with the great Bodhisattva Manjusri. Tsongkhapa himself became one with Manjusri and had constant direct communication with Manjusri. That is why we have a very special regard for Tsongkhapa. On top of that, Tsongkhapa was also the root guru of Gelwa Gendun Drup, who was His Holiness the First Dalai Lama. It is said in the scriptures that there are three different aspects of Tsongkhapa's spiritual practice: the outer, inner, and secret level. With regards to the outer level, Tsongkhapa was engaged in all the practices of monastic discipline that the Buddha taught in the Vinaya Sutra, which encompasses the 253 vows taken by a fully ordained monk. From the context of discipline, he was a pure Theravadan practitioner who was completely free from the downfalls of the Pratimoksha vows. He would have been considered a great Theravadan practitioner because those teachings also come from the holy Theravadan tradition. Tsongkhapa was such a great practitioner because he held on to his monk vows purely throughout his life up to the minute of his last breath. It was because he upheld these vows so perfectly that all his actions were immaculately pure and beautiful. People naturally appreciated him and developed faith in him because he held his monk vows very well. With regards to the second aspect, the inner level, Tsongkhapa held dearly all the practices and vows that the Buddha taught in the Mahayana Sutras. He completely adhered to the vows of a bodhisattva, such as avoiding all the prescribed downfalls. He infused all his actions of body, speech, and speech with the bodhisattva's motivation, as expounded by Shantideva in his text, The Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Bodhisattva Charayavatara. He upheld every single major and minor bodhisattva vow. In other words, he acted out of a pure bodhisattva's motivation. In other words, he spoke out of a bodhisattva's motivation, and his whole way of life was that of a bodhisattva's life. Therefore, from an inner perspective, Tsongkhapa was a pure Mahayana practitioner. With regards to the secret level, or third aspect, Tsongkhapa engaged perfectly in all the practices of Tantra. He upheld all the vows and commitments taught by the Buddha that are contained within the Tantric or Vajrayana teachings. Thus, he was also a great yogi who engaged in intense deity yoga or yidam practices. He combined it with the yoga of the union of great bliss and emptiness. Thus, his mind became completely free from all ordinary perception and conception. He became a great example of a pure Vajrayana practitioner. His disciples henceforth could then clearly understand how to lay the foundation for Vajrayana practice. He explicitly taught his students how to progress and complete this path. The way Tsongkhapa combined these three aspects into a single path revolutionized how Buddhist teachings were practiced in Tibet. Therefore, the various Theravadan, Mahayana, and Vajrayana scriptures are not contradictory, as some might think they are. Tsongkhapa has shown us how they can be integrated into a single path. In that way, Tsongkhapa himself became the best example of a practitioner in Tibet by combining the Theravadan, Mahayana, and Vajrayana teachings. He was such a fastidious practitioner that he practiced all three aspects with equal measure. He incorporated all three aspects into a single path and taught everything to his students. He showed that Hinayana, Mahayana, and Tantrayana were not contradictory, but are actually complementary and a necessary step towards achieving Buddhahood. In short, he was a pure monk by upholding the outer vows of a Theravadan, and on the inner level he practiced a bodhisattva's conduct of a pure Mahayana practitioner. He also combined both aspects with the practices of a secret tantric practitioner. Thus, he became a great practitioner and inspiration for all of us. We can pray to meditate on and take refuge with Tsongkhapa because he not only taught but also followed this path and gained full enlightenment in this manner. Contained with his lineage and practices is the special blessing that we too can practice the holy Theravadan, Mahayana, and Vajrayana teachings correctly. In his lifetime, Tsongkhapa performed many great deeds. At one point in his life, he was very poor and didn't have any sponsors. At that time, he had just come out of retreat and came across a ruined statue of Maitreya in an old temple called Jingjiling. He resolved to restore the statue and temple, but could not afford it. So he offered Thomas ritual cakes to Vaishravana, Vaishravana, with butter given to him by a traveling monk. After that, many came to offer large quantities of cheese and other items. From these first offerings, Tsongkhapa could afford to hire wonderful craftsmen to restore the ruined statue and the dilapidated temple. Many artists also came forward to offer their services to paint the statues and restore the frescoes within the ruined temple. Many auspicious portents and signs appeared throughout the entire time they worked. Okay, I would end this here for this session and continue on in my next sessions. So thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll end this with a completion dedication in Tibetan. Chẳng yêu sinh cho rin po shi ma ke pa nam ge yu shi ke pa nam pa me pa yang go ni go du pe wa shu to ni to wa rin po shi ma ke pa nam ge yu shi ke pa nam pa me pa yang go ni go du pe wa shu da so ji ne sa pa ge wa di tan tan ro wa go na kam pa da je pa je sun no san tra pa yi tam ping in po rin tu sa se shu ke wa kun tu yen na la ma da ro mi cho ki pa la lo cho jing sa dam dang yi ya ta ra zon to ye chang yi ngo pa ngo tu so ge wa di yu du da la ma sang yu ru yu ni tro wa chi ke ma lu pa de sa la go pa shu ki ka Tsongkhapa cho sun nam pa pe wala ge ki sama si wadan tung ki malu sa wa sho da dam sing do sun dang dre we song la te ne ge wala sun tra pai tam pa yu river ge shi ni modele sendele ni mi gunyan dele shi ni sin ta to dele pa kun chu song yi jing gi lo kun chu song yi ngo do so kun chu song yi tra si sho je sun nam ma ku sun rap ting ching nam ka tri ni cho cho ki pa dang lo sam tem pe tro me sap song tro we mun sa ta to ni ge shi gang ri raw we ko we shin kam de pen dan de o ma lu ge we ne chen ren se wan ten sing get song yi sha pe shi re ba do ten ge shi home don't be ngô tru ma lu pa đến đến đã là sao du so có đàn đến pa long chọn cái pa so shi shuk tin sao. Thank you, and please do join me to continue on with the chapter.